Hi, welcome to No Pressure, the talk show where we answer your fluid power questions online. You just call us and ask us a question, email it, put it in the comments down below, and we will feature it online. Hi, I'm Jack Weeks with GPM Hydraulic Consulting, the nation's leader in fluid power training, troubleshooting, and reliability.
And I'm Alan Dellinger, the operations manager here at GPM. We have another email that was sent to us. Actually have somebody that emailed me directly. He had read my article on understanding and troubleshooting hydrostatic drives, and since it was emailed to me specifically, I'm going to let Jack read his question
we'll
here.
Switch it up a little bit here. Alrighty, this comes from James Nicholson in the UK, and he says, "Dear Alan, just had to read through your article, Understanding and Troubleshooting Hydrostatic Systems. I have a problem with a hydrostatic loading shovel. The issue is that under load uphill, the pump drives the wheels as normal, but at a reduced capacity. On a level surface or downhill, the pump will violently jump from forward to reverse at great force, usually locking the wheels at each instance. This can happen around 5 times in every 10-second period of driving at simply 5 miles an hour or 1,500 RPMs. So far, I have rebuilt the pump with no obvious signs of damage and installed a new direction control valve with both solenoids, but still the problem persists." I think that'll be the pump, huh? This is just an email to ask if you have ever encountered this issue before. Many other hydraulic specialists maintained it had to be the control valve, but it hasn't been the case. I must note that this was a brand new replacement pump from Rexroth and has never been working correctly since installed by the mechanic. The original pump on the machine had failed and put filings through the system. Thanks in advance, James.
Okay, well, James, yes, I have dealt with this issue a lot with hydrostatic drives, and not just hydrostatic drives, hydraulic motors in particular. Now, I do realize one thing I picked out from your question is you did mention that a pump was changed previously, and a lot of filings got in the system. Since then, you've been having problems, and you've even rebuilt this pump. You've checked the control valve, and nothing seems to be the issue there. One thing that we always have in a hydraulic, I say not always, but most hydrostatic systems when you're driving a hydraulic motor, is we have cross-port relief valves. We even use cross-port relief valves in industrial type applications when driving motors. Now, what these cross-ports do is they're there in the system, normally have 2, one at the inlet, one at the outlet. They absorb shock spikes from starting and stopping because our oil's rigid, and anytime oil's deadheaded, it's going to create shock. So you have to have some way to protect the motor, so that's what they do. Now, normally these cross ports are set about anywhere from 250 to 400 psi above your maximum load pressure you'd ever have on that motor.
Right.
So normally, and this sounds so familiar because I've dealt with it with hydrostatics a lot, and particular since you don't have anything wrong with your pump. It doesn't sound like it's a pump to me, or the control valve. Some of those filings more than likely have gotten in your cross-port relief valves downstream. Now, one symptom of a cross-port relief valve problem is if it moves one direction fine, but stalls the opposite direction, or even wants to surge in the opposite direction, you probably do have a cross-port relief valve that has failed open. I do recall an instance a few years ago. I was dealing with a crane in a wood yard at a paper mill, and their crane rotator motor that rotated the grapple had 2 crossport relief valves for protecting it. What was happening was when the operator would lower the grapple and grab a load of logs out of the truck, lift it and start rotating it, it would rotate, and when he would stop it by closing the control valve, the logs just kept going instead of stopping. And they did it both directions. They would just freewheel. Well, I was called out to that problem, and we took the crossport relief valves apart and found plastic inside of them. And ended up, long story short, we found that the suction strainer had actually never been changed. It had come apart, and the plastic had got in the valves. Okay. Now, in your case, it's not a suction strainer. It sounds like you've got some metal filings and wear from the previous pump. So my suggestion would be to, of course, make sure your pressure is bled down, have no pressure in the system whatsoever. Remove your relief valves, inspect the seat. Make sure that you don't have any contamination. Make sure the seat's not worn. Check the O-rings. Now, these relief valves, where are they located? In some, it depends on the application. Some hydrostatic applications, they're in a separate block between the pump and the motor. Some of them are adjustable externally. Some are not. Another location for them, or sometimes you find them screwed into the hydraulic motor housing, the drive motor, and they will normally be non-adjustable. They look like a check valve screwed in. Now, they are adjustable. It's just that normally they're adjusted by shims by the OEM, so they'll use shims to set the pressure, so that way nobody can physically adjust them externally. You know, you don't want anybody turning them down or turning them up. So that's something to look for. That's where you want what you want to check. Make sure there's no contamination in there, but I just about bet that your problem is those relief valves are stuck open on you.
Yep.
What do you think, Jay?
Sounds like it to me. One thing I would add, a lot of times, if your hydraulic motor has a case drain on it, then it will also have makeup check valves in with the cross ports,
well.
usually in the same block, and they can cause some of the same symptoms
That's right.
that you were talking about. But again, big red flag. If it's doing something different forward than it is reverse, like you said, the first thing to look at is in that cross port block.
Right.
I think you answered that very well.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, you know, I think we've been trying to mention that here from now on. When we get a question like this, we do help these guys out rather quickly. We don't wait until we do an episode because you know this is something that these guys need to know now. So we try to help you out as soon as we can, but keep sending them to us because we will do our best to share them in our no pressure episodes.
That's right. We certainly will. Everybody, let's see you next time. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and no pressure.